Wounded but Not Broken, with host Patrick Scrogin. As a U.S. Army attack helicopter pilot deployed in Iraq, Patrick faced a devastating crash, which resulted in him dying, losing a leg, and a slew of broken bones. Patrick's story of rehabilitation has helped others to overcome their own obstacles. Each week, Patrick recounts stories of inspiration and interviews guests who have overcome remarkable obstacles. This is Wounded but Not Broken, with your host, Patrick Scrogin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wounded but Not Broken in this new year. I hope everybody's got the new year started off as well as could be. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done a live show. Everybody's been busy with life and the holidays and family and trying to get back to some sort of normalcy that we're kind of used to. Although, there's a lot of factors to play there, but I hope everybody's managing. I know I've been super busy in a moving to Chicago and just trying to get everything settled and so we're here tonight to do another live show, and hopefully it's going to be a great show. We're gonna switch it up a little bit. I'm kind of gonna become the interviewee, and I have Midge Ripoli on the line. He's gonna kind of take it from a different perspective. From somebody that doesn't have any military experience or anything, and just kind of try to answer some questions that people may have had about some previous episodes. We're going to talk about some of them, and I'm sure he's going to ask me some challenging questions. With that being said, I'd like to introduce Midge Ripoli, and let's get after it, man.
Hey, Patrick, how are you, man?
I'm good.
First off, I want to say sorry about your Dallas Cowboys. That was a heartbreaker for the Dallas fans last night, and just wanted to say sorry about that. I know your stepson played on the team, and it was a great game except for that last second.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, especially being so competitive and then having something at stake, like that in there with my son playing for the team and being so competitive like I am. I mean, I took it pretty hard. I was very frustrated, but at the end of the day, there's got to be a winner. There's got to be a loser. I just hate being that loser. But, hey, maybe they'll come back stronger next year, and maybe they learned something. There's a lot of lessons to be learned there. They beat themselves. It wasn't, they don't have anybody to blame but themselves.
So I've been working with you on all of your shows so far, and there's one constant theme that I hear throughout these shows, and it really makes you think. And it really makes me think because, I've been involved in certain charities over the years, helping veterans and stuff like that. And I've gone down to the VA hospital, Hines VA hospital, and talked to some of the guys that stay there. Guys that were first off the boat at Normandy. And these guys they have such great stories, and they have this air about them that is I'm not going to say superhero-ish, but it is very stoic and superhero-ish. And one of the constant themes that I hear on your show when you talk to all these different people is when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I think of is, how could I help somebody else today? How can I help this group of veterans today? How could I help this family that their house burnt down? How could I, whatever it might be? And that's completely, I wouldn't say 50-50, but I would say, every person that you've talked to, that's what they said. I wake up in the morning and I say, how could I help other people? What is it that drives you to do that when you wake up in the morning? Sure, you've got your stuff you got to do. I got to go to work. I got to stop at the store. But when you first wake up, it's a whole different mindset. And what is that born into you? Does that come from you seeing something? What is it that makes you wake up and say, how can I help somebody else today?
Man, I think if you ask 10 people that the very same question, I think you'd get 10 different answers. For me, I think I've always had an ability to rise above just about anything that was put in front of me. And so I think it's just kind of like a gift that I was born with, I think, and always wanting to help. And that's just that humanity, being a human, you want to see everybody do their absolute best, much like the football game. I mean, I sit here and I'm thinking to myself, what could I do to help them? But in the grand scheme of things, I couldn't. But yeah, I mean, I think, some people look at this very differently. And I think most of the people in the military, because when you join the military and you go to combat with your brothers and sisters, I mean, it's a different lifestyle, and you rely on them so much for so many things, whether you're kicking indoors or whether you're, on a scout attack mission in a helicopter. You always have a wingman, and you always have a team, and the team helps everybody. And it's like that old saying, a twig, that if you got a twig will easily break, but if you got 10 wrapped together, it makes it stronger, and that cohesion. And I think it's just built into our DNA that we need that connection and that team bond. And I think in the military guys that you see that wanting to help so much is because they don't want to see anybody that may have to struggle like they did if they're able to help, if that makes sense. So just because I lost a leg and had a broken back and I could, I barely walk at first, there's certain things I learned how to do for myself that would benefit, that somebody else could benefit from, that had kind of the same injury. So I would do whatever I could to make sure that they had an easier time than I did. Yeah.
So what about this? Take this scenario. You're driving your car. You're not in the service. You were a Marine, right?
No, I was in the Army.
I'm sorry, Army. My bad. My fault. You're not in the Army. You're just Patrick Scrogin driving your car. You get into an accident. You break your back. You lose a leg. You wake up the next day. Would that Patrick Scrogin be the same Patrick Scrogin that he is today? Or would he be, laying on his mother's couch complaining about how life screwed him over and it's a waste? Your life is a waste. Or did being in the military and being born like that, has that made you say, okay, this is an obstacle. Let me go around it and move on?
I think the military kind of helps with that, but to back it up, before the military, I was the same way. I think that has to do with the culture that you were raised in, how you were raised, and the standard you were held to as a kid. And I was held to a very, very high standard, and I held myself to a high standard. And I've always been super competitive, not only with everybody else, but within myself. And so being, just for instance, in high school, I'd go run the mile one time practicing, and I would time it, and I had to beat it the next time. If I didn't, it was just crazy. But I would be so mad at myself. It's that competitiveness. It's that drive to be the best. It's that drive to overcome anything. And I think some people use that selfishly, and I think some people are able to tap into that and use that very unselfishly to where they can help others. And I feel like, coming from a big family, and a lot of my brothers and older sisters kind of beat up on me and didn't help me a lot. I think, and not in a bad way. I just think I look at it differently, because if I'm driving down the road and I see somebody in need, I always try to make sure that I can fulfill that it's actually, you get a kind of a sense of gratitude inside of you. You feel grateful, that you help somebody. You're kind of proud of yourself, and I think it's a personal thing, and I think that's one of the big things in civilian life that is starting to leave our society. Everybody's kind of become homebodies with phones and tablets and games and all that stuff. We're just not as social as a culture anymore as we used to be, and I don't think that's not to the benefit of our children. I don't think. I kind of got off topic there. No,
that's perfect.
Go ahead.
You said that with today's culture, the kids are there. I know you're not going to have exact numbers, but are there still enough 18, 19-year-olds signing up for the military if something were to happen? Because like you said, there's kids who just sit on the couch all day, play Xbox. They're on their phones. They're not out there playing football out in the park. They're not playing. They're on their phones. And my son, who's 18, he played sports, but it was like a struggle to get him to get him going. And it's like he'd rather be playing Xbox. And it's like, is this messing up if something happens in the future? Like if something happens and we have to go to war, I mean, we've obviously been in these conflicts, but do we still have that same core group of people that would be out there? Would you like feel safe if something were to happen right now and we had to send over 100,000 people somewhere?
Man, that's a tough question to answer. And again, I just want to state that this is absolutely my opinion and my opinion only. And but I think that to answer your question shortly, no. I think as a society we've become very soft, very weak in that aspect, and I think our kids have suffered from it. You got a lot of kids that get on Xbox and PlayStation, they play Call of Duty, and they're like, man, I'd love to do this in real life, and they join the military, and it's not like that. And to get to that takes an extreme amount of dedication, pain, perseverance, and everything else you can muster up to get to a unit that is able to do stuff like that. And so I think even the military, I think, gotten so laxed in their discipline. And make no mistake, I still feel we have the best military in the world. But I also think they're making it too easy, with basic training and allowing cell phones on the weekends and weekend passes and this and that. I don't agree with that. I think you join the military, you should join to get hard. And we need tough, hard people to defend this country because it's coming. I mean, it's inevitable. If you just look at the world in a global perspective of what's going on, it's not going to be much longer, and there's going to have to be something that's done. So to answer your question shortly, no, I think we've become too soft as a culture and too we're so easy to point fingers of what I don't agree with and what you don't agree with, and this is wrong and this is wrong, and you shouldn't yell like this or you shouldn't do that. Well, there's a method to the madness in the military when you're getting yelled at or they're making you run and they're screaming at you. You have to learn how to work under pressure in the most extreme circumstances because that you can't simulate combat. You can't simulate that kind of hectic environment, and that's the best way they can do it is to yell and scream at you and get you uncomfortable and to where you're making mistakes because you learn from it. And so I think we're getting away from that, and I think we should go back to it, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I'm sure boot camp today from when you went to boot camp, like you said, now they get their phones on the weekend. They could take a weekend pass and do this and do that. Hey, do you mind going out and digging this hole? Instead of like it being an order, they kind of have to ask because it's just everybody has gotten so sensitive, and if you say something wrong to them, it's I don't know. It is definitely a weird time.
It's this whole woke environment, this whole woke culture, of you can't agree with one side, but they can disagree with everything, and then if you disagree with them, they cancel you, and it's complete and utter bullshit. And, I don't know how to fix that other than, I try to do the best I can with my kids and try to make sure that they understand what's going on in the world. And, I'm very proud of them for that. My oldest daughter, she's very, very involved and she educates herself every day on current events. And at the end of the day, it all starts at home, in my opinion. Everything starts at home. And, life has become so fast-paced in America right now that tablets and cell phones are easy for parents to hand them to their kids, and that's the babysitter, right? And the mom and dad can kind of go do what they need to do, and they're babysitted by playing games or being on an iPad instead of getting out and throwing that football or baseball or going hiking or that. And that's it's unfortunate, but that's just kind of the where we're headed.
It is very scary just to think of, and then, try watching the news and coming away, from watching a half an hour of news, try coming away in a good mood. It's just, there's so much crap going on right now, and you can't get away from it, from the pandemic
first of all,
to this to that. And
first of all, you got to find a half an hour of news because it's all propaganda anymore. It's not news. There is no more news. It's just propaganda of one side or the other, and that's very disturbing as well. But that's kind of a different subject. That's a whole different conversation that I don't really want to get into, and I don't think you do either. Why don't we take a quick break? Not tonight.
Why don't we take a quick break, and then when we come back, I want to talk to you about the day that everything happened to you. And I know you've talked about that before, but I want to ask a few questions about it, and then we can go on from there, because I don't think that a lot of people know, like, the whole story of yours if they missed the first episode. It's not something you bring up a lot. I know it's something that, to me, I would be that guy laying in bed right now going, my life's over, because I'm not. I feel like I'm a strong-willed person. I feel like I've got the guts, and I would hope that I would be one of the guys running towards the fire and not away trying to hide somewhere. You hopefully you'll never be put in that situation, but I would hope I would be the one running in the right direction to help and not away. But like I said, hopefully I'll never have to find out.
Yeah. Well, you never know until you're put in that situation. But, yeah, so we'll be right back. Here's a word from our sponsors, and Midge and I will continue when we get back.
So put your weapon next to mine. Put your weapon next to mine.
You're listening to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey, right on down the line. Come on over.
My father was the best truck driver I've ever known in my life. Like a family tradition.
I'm a truck driver myself. I drove around the state with my cat.
To be the truck driver, you not just only see where you go, you see the world in the larger perspective.
This is a really good time to be in the trucking industry. The dispatchers get good loads for them. The equipment is very new, and then it's very reliable.
At GTS Transportation, we make dreams come true by employing truck drivers, dispatchers, mechanics, and many other occupations. Consider joining our rapidly expanding team where we put quality, human dignity, and respect back into the workforce. Contact us by visiting our website at gtscarrier.com or call us at 847-754-4667. That number again, 847-754-4667. VBN, Veterans Broadcast Network, brings you Wounded But Not Broken, hosted by Patrick Scrogin. It lies within you to conquer your greatest challenges. Patrick tackles the stories of how others faced unthinkable odds, and then at a pivotal moment, a change occurred within them that gave them the strength, attitude, and direction to excel beyond the greatest expectations. Listen every week and learn how it is possible to defeat the impossible.
Dallas Corporation and Dallas Logistics, a proud supporter of the Veterans Radio broadcast for over 15 years. High-quality printing services and warehouse distribution have been our hallmark since 1985, serving Fortune 100 companies for over 35 years. Check us out at www.dallascorp.com.
Welcome back to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. And just tonight, we're just kind of switching up the show a little bit. We got Midge kind of doing the interviewing of me tonight. So I'm going to turn it back over to Midge, and let's get going.
So if I remember correctly, Patrick, when did you first go into service? Was it after 9/11?
No. Well, I joined the National Guard between my junior and senior high school. So in '96, I joined the National Guard. I was artillery, and it was really boring for me because I really wanted to do the Army thing and get out and get muddy and do obstacle courses. And I tried to go to Ranger School from National Guard. It wasn't in the budget. They couldn't send me. So I did my fulfillment there, but I went active duty in 2002.
2002. So now, did you? And I think I remember talking to you. You said that it was right after 9/11 happened, and that like did that kind of like make up your mind on okay, now I'm definitely going?
Absolutely. I mean, I had a career going. I was a commercial pilot. I was flying every day, making really good money for my age. And after the September 11th, I basically quit that day. In my mind, I mean, I still flew for a few weeks before I left for the military, but I went up that next day because we were grounded anyway, talked to the recruiter, and we went down to the MEPS the following week, and then I got all my stuff, and it was just April before I actually went to training, but in my mind, I was already in the military right at that day after September 11th.
Wow. See, so that's right there, you know, I'm sure there was guys sitting on a bar stool somewhere throwing beers at the TV, you know, like, oh, God. But those aren't the guys that actually went, signed up, and like went and helped. See, and then like I said, right there, I didn't think the same way. I thought, you know, I just had a daughter. I'm like, I just want to make sure my family's safe. Obviously, I'm sure you did that too. But it's just, I didn't stop and go, okay, I'm going to go join the military and go over there and help. I need to be there. I need to be one of those guys that is sitting there helping and doing things instead of sitting here. I was a little bit older than you, so they probably wouldn't have taken me. And being 3'11", I think I'm too short anyways. So
you are pretty
short. Is there
short.
an ice limit? What did you say?
I said, yeah, you are pretty short. I don't know of any height limits. I can tell you my thinking in all this because my wife at the time was pregnant with my first daughter when I made the decision to go. I mean, so it wasn't so much of a factor of that. I mean, I always wanted to be there for my kids, and I always do, and I always will. But my mentality and my mode of thinking is seeing them people having to jump out of that building, choose to die from a jump as opposed to burning to death. That really hit me. It hit me hard. And then we're Americans. And then to see all the brave first responders going in, a lot of them didn't get to come out of that. And I can tell you internally, I was just furious. And I know people don't like me to say this, but I'll say it. And I'm going to say it because that's what I believe. I mean, I wanted revenge. I wanted to understand that if you mess with our country and you attack us on our grounds, there's people like me and a whole lot of others that will stand up and make sure you're dealt with. And that's exactly my mode of thinking. It was difficult because of I was having a daughter being born, and I knew that I was going to miss a lot. But I joined the military to go fight. I joined the military to go fight for this country, and I don't regret it, and I would do it again. And I also, another driving force that makes this country so great, I joined the military so my kids, as they get older, won't have to. They'll have the choice instead of it being, forced upon them. So that was kind of my mode of thinking. There's some people that don't agree with it. And fortunately, I mean, I really don't care. I mean, it's just, I did what I thought was right, and I'd do it again.
And that's what, say, and kind of relates back to what we were talking about. If 9/11 were to happen again tomorrow, would these same kids that are playing Call of Duty, would they head down and sign up for the military? I would say no, like you said earlier, no,
Yeah, I mean, I would. I'd limp over there again. I mean, if I had to, I just, my time was done before I was ready for it to be. I'll tell you that. I mean, I was a career guy. I enjoyed the military. I enjoyed the camaraderie. I enjoyed the mission, and everything that I did. I had multiple jobs in the military, and of course, there's some stuff that you don't like. But at the end of the day, no matter what you do, there's going to be days you don't like. But you just kind of take the good with the bad and roll through it. But I miss it every day, and it's we live in the greatest country on earth, and I don't want that to change. And unfortunately, it's starting to go down the other road.
Yeah. So now you went to how many times were you deployed? 2 or 3?
2.
And then the accident happened on the second one, and you broke your back, you lost a leg, just so many things happened to you that a normal person, would have hung up their bootstraps. You came back and not only turned your life around, but went above and beyond what guys with 2 legs are doing, and you're above and beyond them. You're still flying planes. You're hiking. You're hunting. You're helping other veterans. So on the day that the accident happened, start off with that day.
Well, the day, it was a night mission. So most of the day I think I was sleeping, just trying to get rest before the night mission. So I don't remember exactly what time we took off. Probably around 8:30 at night. 9 o'clock. It was a big cordon search in northeastern Iraq, and we were the close air support for the guys on the ground, and it was just one of just a typical routine kind of thing. You get in skirmishes here and there, and just one thing led to another, and it was just turned bad really quick. It was just a flip of a switch. And, when we impacted the ground, I guess from the very first indication in the helicopter, they say your life flashes before your eyes. So everything slowed down for me. Everything slowed down, and it was just, your training takes over. And I remember distinctly I'm flying under night vision goggles. So you got a 60-degree field of view, a visual acuity of 20/200. So you're legally blind, but it's still good at night. And I remember going down and I thought there was a set of high tension wires and I didn't want to hit them. So I pulled some collective, which makes you go up and down in a helicopter. The collective does. But when you don't have power going to that rotor, you can only get to a certain percent, and then you're never going to get it back. And it's terrible. So, but I pulled some collective to get over what I thought were wires. So it wasn't wires. Mm-hmm. It was a ditch. It was a berm in a field. And anyways, when I thought I cleared it, I stood the helicopter up on end and tried to overspeed the rotor system and then, pull everything. Everything was kind of slow motion, but it took from the very first indication till the time we hit, it took 6 seconds.
Wow. So you said, you instantly went into, mode, attack, whatever mode. How do you prepare for that? How do you prepare for, okay, we've just been shot at, I have to do this, my rotor's gone, we're going down. Like, there's no way to prepare for that.
No, I think that's the thing with the military. You train for the worst scenario, just much like, you could relate it to like a professional football team. Them guys train for almost every scenario. If you heard Dak's post interview last night from the game, they trained for that last play. They just didn't train that specific part where the ref ran into him. Well, in the military, you train.
The ball. Yeah.
Right. You train for everything, and so when you train for something so much, it just becomes muscle memory, and everything just becomes reactive. You don't have to think about it. It's much like taking a step. Most people don't have to think about taking a step or turning right. You just do it, and so that's kind of you train so much for these different situations. That's kind of where you go. And after we had impacted the ground, now it's just a survival instinct. You just want to live, and so you try to assess yourself and try to see how bad you are, and just keep going. You just try to you're always looking forward. You don't want to get caught up in the moment, because that's when you start feeling sorry for yourself and all that stuff. So you just push forward.
So when you impacted the ground, you were still conscious, you were still awake, and you were, like you said, assessing the situation, or were you out?
Yeah, I think I was probably knocked out for a little bit. But yeah, I was very much aware, laying in the dirt, and missing my leg and how much I hurt and I couldn't feel my legs, and just trying to assess what was left of my body, I guess. And my co-pilot, I think he was doing much of the same, and he was, there was probably some moaning going on, maybe some yelling. I don't really remember the exact details, but yeah, I mean, I think initially on impact, because we hit the ground at like 24 G's or something, and so I think I was knocked out from the impact, but I think I woke up rather quickly and started just trying to. But that's where that survival instinct kicked in, just trying to assess what's going on and seeing what you could do to help yourself.
I remember I think we were talking. It was the first time we met when you did your show live. Did you say that even after all that, when you got back, got home, got everything taken care of, did you say, when can I go back? Yeah, I mean, the whole thing for me is I wanted to stay in, and I wanted to continue to be a TAC pilot, because it's a mentality. It's much like bus driver as opposed to the guy driving a Ferrari, right? So it's just two different mindsets. So, but when the military said they wanted to put me in a VIP unit flying dignitaries around or whatever it was, I declined that. It was my personality. That's how you pick to me, that's how you should pick an airframe when you're wanting to fly in the military. You should pick it on your personality. So if you're more of a passive kind of go with the flow kind of person, this is just my opinion, I think you should probably fly like a be a lift guy or something. But if you're that type, that super type A, you want to be in the mix, you got to be the best, you're super competitive, that's going to make the better attack guys or fighter pilots in the Air Force, or however you want to look at it. So they wanted you to basically be a helicopter chauffeur. Yeah, I mean, I not to knock them guys, because everybody has their own mission, and flying Blackhawks is awesome, and they got some really good platforms for Blackhawks. It's just, I think the more of it, if they would have probably put it different, I probably would have stayed in and done it, because I'd have liked that too. I mean, there's a lot of fun to be had there, but basically they gave me an ultimatum. They said either you do this or that's it, and I don't do well with ultimatums, and I don't do well with people telling me I can't do something. And so it pissed me off more than anything. And I think the way I looked at it, that was just the end of that chapter of my life, and I needed to close that chapter and start a new one. That's amazing. So I want to talk about what you do now, how you help other veterans. We could probably do that when we get back if you want to take a quick break. That's just amazing. They wanted you to be, but the amazing thing to me is that you wanted to stay in. That's just, that's just amazing to me. I don't know, but see, that's just the kind of guy you are. That's what I'm saying. And how many people out there are still like that? I know everybody that you've talked to on your shows, they've probably said the same thing. When can I go back? Some of them guys did. Like Blaine, he stayed. He finished out his full retirement, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. And I don't want to make it sound like they tried to push me out. They were going to make everything they could do. They were going to do everything they could do to fulfill my wish to stay in. It's just we disagreed on how. And I'm not really a conformer. So again, I just felt that was the end of that chapter of my life, and I needed to start a new one. So I mean, it's just a sense of pride, right? Every day you put on that uniform, you're just super proud, and you're proud of your accomplishments, because, if you work hard in the military, you can do anything you want to do. And, it was just a sense of pride. And I was always a very proudful guy to be putting on that uniform and being able to stand up and fight for my country, or be a representative of the country. And it was just, I loved it. But we can talk about that stuff when we get back. So let's just get another word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Cool, man.
So put your weapon next to mine. Put your weapon next to mine.
You're listening to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Take my arm down.
My father was the best truck driver I've ever known in my life, like a family tradition.
I'm a truck driver myself. I drove around the state with my cat.
To be the truck driver, you not just only see where you go, you see the world in the larger perspective.
This is a really good time to be in the trucking industry. The dispatchers get good loads for them. The equipment is very new, and then it's very reliable.
At GTS Transportation, we make dreams come true by employing truck drivers, dispatchers, mechanics, and many other occupations. Consider joining our rapidly expanding team where we put quality, human dignity, and respect back into the workforce. Contact us by visiting our website at gtscarrier.com or call us at 847-754-4667. That number again, 847-754-4667.
Dallas Corporation and Dallas Logistics, a proud supporter of the Veterans Broadcast Network for over 19 years. High-quality printing services and warehouse distribution has been our hallmark since 1985, serving Fortune 100 companies for over 35 years. Check us out at www.dallascorp.com.
VBN, Veterans Broadcast Network, brings you Wounded But Not Broken, hosted by Patrick Scrogin. It lies within you to conquer your greatest challenges. Patrick tackles the stories of how others faced unthinkable odds, and then at a pivotal moment, a change occurred within them that gave them the strength, attitude, and direction to excel beyond the greatest expectations. Listen every week and learn how it is possible to defeat the impossible.
Welcome back to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Wounded But Not Broken. Patrick Scrogin here with Midge. Midge is actually doing the question asking tonight, and I'm trying to answer the best I can. So, Midge, you had a question right before we went to break. What was it?
Why did you choose the Army instead of the Air Force?
Let's see. I chose the Army. Well, first of all, going to the Air Force, if I was going to go to the Air Force, I mean, it's not I don't bash any of them. I mean, every military branch has their own role and mission. I think it was more of a mission profile that I wanted. If I would have went to the Air Force, I would obviously wanted to fly fighter jets or be like a PJ or something. But it was just, I think, because I decided to go on such a spur of the moment and for the reasons that I joined, the Army was the quickest way for me to get in the fight, I think.
So Patrick, you come back, you're in the hospital, you go through all the therapy, you get back to where you can live life again, and you want to help your brothers and sisters that are in the same boat as you are, and you take them hunting. What is it about hunting that helps servicemen that have been wounded, that have been hurt, or just even ones that have just come home safely, that nothing happened to them? What is it about hunting that helps get back into, that helps their brain? What is it about it?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question, and it's one that, I love to answer. And, sometimes people don't understand the whole hunting. But first, as a hunter, as a true hunter, you have to be a true conservationist. And when I say true conservationist, you have to really care about the environment and the animals. And I've had death threats by a lot of people on social media for my hunting and all this and that. And I've actually reached out and tried to talk to some of the people that see it differently than I do. Not to try to change their opinion or their mind, because everybody's entitled to their own opinion on a subject, but don't hate me. I don't hate them for thinking that way. So don't hate me for thinking the way that I think. I mean, as basic humans, we've hunted since the beginning of time. And so I choose I choose to label myself as a conservationist because I truly do care about the environment. I truly do care about the animals. And so it's not really about hunting for me. It's more about the life experiences, the views, the sounds, the smells and nature of being so pure and untouched and being out in a free wilderness. I think it's amazing. And so where that's into wounded veterans is we all love being outdoors. We love challenging ourselves. And, I think it's just that sense of being free and away from all the social media contacts of the phones and just that everyday fast-paced life to where we can all just kind of go out and just chill out, light a campfire and throw a tent up and we just have fun. We just talk about the good old days and talk about, what we're going to do. And it's a mentality, I think.
Yeah.
And I've seen hunting and the outdoors change so many veterans' lives. Guys that were on the verge of suicide that had never hunted before, never really been in the outdoors other than in the military. And when you get them out, you can just see, it's like a switch. I mean, you can just see it in their eyes. It's like their eyes are dull and then they start gleaming. And then what it does, it gives them a whole new sense of purpose, a new set of challenges, because there's so many different varieties of things that you can hunt. And, when you get to the pinnacle of hunting, mountain hunting, mountain sheep, which is some of the most physically challenging hunts in the world. And I went straight to that. And for guys they'd ask me questions about it and how I trained and my mindset and this and that. You can just see that it's clicking. And there's so many wounded guys after me that have started getting into mountain hunting now. And it's really awesome to see. And it's been such a highlight of my life and a pleasure to be in that situation where I can inspire people to get out and challenge themselves.
See, like you said, you take them out and not like they're going to go out and all of a sudden they're going to become a hunter and go out all the time. It doesn't matter. You said you saw the change. Like one day they're contemplating suicide because of everything that's happened. Then they meet you, you take them hunting, and it opens their eyes. And like I said, not necessarily like they're going to go out and hunting that's their life, but it brings them back like to reality and makes them want to go on because they know that they still have that in them. And that's what I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's pretty amazing.
It's not just me. So I got affiliated with a few nonprofits. One in the outdoor industry. It's called Wounded Warrior Outdoors, and that was started by Ron Ribot, and he did it completely. He probably would get mad that I said his name on here tonight if he heard it, but that's how humble the guy is, and he's done more for veterans than just about anybody. I mean, the guy's so selfless, got such a big heart, and he is. What he does is he'll get a bunch of guys together, and he won't let cameras or anything, or he doesn't want any credit for it. He just gets them together. He might take them to Canada, to British Columbia on a bear hunt or whatever. It's all about that camaraderie, and the very important thing that does is that gets so many veterans together with a big variety of wounds and injuries. And they all get to converse and talk and, hey, how did you overcome this? How did you overcome this? And it's like the pyramid effect. I mean, like them old business models, them old ripoffs where you could, one guy starts it and then it pyramids and everybody thinks they're going to get rich. Well, in this case, this is a pyramid that actually works. He started out by taking one or two guys, and now it's turned into every year he does this thing in Florida. And it's a competition. They have like a 3-day competition. They have a long-range shooting competition, which I used to teach. And then they have close quarters combat. They have all kinds of these competitions, and you have these teams. And the sponsors of the events are the team leads, and they compete for prizes at the end or lashings or whatever it may be. It's such an awesome deal, and there's so many nonprofits that play a big role in nowadays and to wounded veteran recovery. And I think sometimes the veterans are scared to reach out to them or maybe hesitant, but don't be. I mean, they're really there to provide a role, and they can help out a lot. And it's really been amazing for me to be a part of such a selfless act for so many people. I mean, there's so many nonprofits out there that just are just amazing.
I noticed just from doing the show with you, we all click on, about 15 minutes early, and it's so funny that you're on with, Sergeant Meyer or Keith Holland or Joshua Suss and these guys, and you guys ball bust each other, and you make fun, but it's a fun. It's not like you're like, it's like, hey, what's up, peg leg? Oh, no, you did, you know what I mean? And you guys are joking, and you can hear it in your guys' voice from like when he calls in, he's like, hi, it's Sergeant Zach Stinson. I'm calling in to be on Patrick's show. And then you're like, hey, Zach, what's up? And then you can hear it in his voice to change. And you guys are like right back together. Like we're, like the last time you hunted or the last time you guys start telling stories and you're joking. And I could see that as being great for people that when they're out in the woods, they're sitting around the campfire and they're like, oh, you lost a leg, big deal. I lost this. My arm's, and it's like not like a bragging contest, but it's just like it's a way for you guys to bond, and it makes everybody happy. It puts everybody in a mood, and it's like it's unlike anything. I would love to go on one of these just to watch because it sounds to me like it would be like unlike anything. I got to jump with the Army Golden Knights here in Chicago for the Chicago Air and Water Show. And I rode back in the van with all the guys to the Gary, Indiana airport. And some of the stories that these guys told of when they were in combat and actually in service, as opposed to being in the Golden Knights, it's scarier than any movie you've ever seen. Some of the stuff they were talking about, and I'm sure you've got some of the same stories. And this is going to be one of my final questions when we come back. Is you were talking earlier. And you said, we're out hunting, we're back. It's just back like normal, like we're in Afghanistan and we're having fun and blah, blah, blah. Is there any moment where if you're in Afghanistan and you're there, and how can you ever let your guard down and have fun? I want to talk about that when we come back, because you said that, and it kind of struck me. You're like, yeah, it's kind of like we were back. We're back at, at camp again, and we're all sitting around shooting the crap and playing cards and whatever, and it's that kind of fun, and it just seems like I would be on pins and needles. Well,
that's a great question, and I'll be happy to answer it when we come back. Let's get another word from the sponsors and come back, and I'll answer that.
Nice.
So put your weapon next to mine. Put your weapon next to mine.
You're listening to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey, right on down the line. Come on over. Come on over.
Attention, looking for semi-drivers nationwide. GTS Transportation of Burr Ridge, Illinois is looking to hire or partner with experienced CDL holders in every state. If you are going to drive, why not drive for the best? Whether you are driving solo, as a team, or as an owner-operator, GTS is looking to add you to their rapidly growing company. Become part of one of the most respected, driver-friendly, and successful transportation companies in America, where drivers are treated as royalty. Contact us at gtscarrier.com. Again, gtscarrier.com. Or call us at 847-754-4667. That number again, 847-754-4667. We would love to help you, which in turn helps everyone. GTS is an equal opportunity employer.
Dallas Corporation and Dallas Logistics, a proud supporter of the Veterans Radio broadcast for over 15 years. High-quality printing services and warehouse distribution have been our hallmark since 1985, serving Fortune 100 companies for over 35 years. Check us out at www.dallascorp.com.
VBN, Veterans Broadcast Network, brings you Wounded But Not Broken, hosted by Patrick Scrogin. It lies within you to conquer your greatest challenges. Patrick tackles the stories of how others faced unthinkable odds, and then at a pivotal moment, a change occurred within them that gave them the strength, attitude, and direction to excel beyond the greatest expectations. Listen every week and learn how it is possible to defeat the impossible.
Welcome back to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Right before we broke there, Midge had a question. Midge asked me the question again, and then we'll start the answer.
You had said earlier when we were talking about when you do these hunts and you're out, you guys are out there, and it feels like you're back, on assignment, and you're in a group. You got a campfire going, you're cooking, everybody's having a drink, and it feels like you're back in Afghanistan or wherever you happen to be. It's just. And you said, you're having fun. And it seems to me like I don't know if there's any moment, if I was stationed in Afghanistan, that I would be like, feel safe enough to where I could be having fun. And how do you get past that? How do you do it? And what gets you to that point?
Yeah, so, there's a lot of analogies that are used in the military, or however you want to look at it. One of the good ones is like you have to learn how to embrace the suck. When it sucks, you got to learn how to make the best of it. So, in combat, in the combat environment, I mean, it's really like hours and hours of boredom followed by moments of sheer terror. And so
6 seconds of it, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, and in a variety of different ways, you have to learn how to. You can't be that. I mean, you're always focused, but you got to learn how to break it up. You got to break up the monotony. You got to have fun. You got to cut up, and you're deployed for 8 to 13 months at a time, and you can't. You'll drive yourself crazy if you're trying to be that serious, straight as an arrow, broomstick up your butt kind of guy. I mean, you have to learn how to break it up and cut up and have fun. You got to learn how to have fun in any situation,
Yeah, that it just. I mean, I guess like you said, it gets back to where you have to trust the people you're with. You have to know that if something does happen. Even you might be goofing around, playing cards, sitting around a fire. There's other guys that are ready and waiting, and you have to depend on and know that they're going to be there. So I guess, like you said, it all comes down to trust, know who you're with, but always be aware of your surroundings, Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, you're never unsafe with it. I mean, in a combat zone, I mean, you always have preventative measures, but and sometimes you're that preventative measures. You're not the one getting to have fun. You're actually the one that's focused on the task, and yes, because you whether you're on guard duty or whatever it may be. But I just know that we all like to have fun. I mean, as humans, we all love to have fun. We love to interact and joke, and you got to learn how to have fun in any situation. And I think you mentioned me talking to the guys and kind of making fun of some of their injuries. One of the funny things that we've come up with over the years, guys that are cut off their legs below the knee, we call that a flesh wound, and obviously it's not to everybody else, but we joke with each other, right? And so but yeah, I mean, you got to learn how to laugh at your injuries, because one of the biggest reasons for that I say that is because I when I very first became an amputee, I went to the VA hospital in San Antonio, and there was these 2 older gentlemen, Vietnam veterans, both missing legs, and they had their pants on. And I'm like notorious for wearing shorts. I'll wear shorts in the Arctic. And this gentleman asked me, he goes, "You're not embarrassed to wear shorts?" And I said, "Why would I be embarrassed?" And he said, "Well, because your leg doesn't look like your other one." I'm like, "No, it looks cooler, man. I look like RoboCop." And I was just joking, and he kind of laughed, and I told myself then, I mean, it's just unique. I'm just unique now. I mean, I have to do things a little bit different, some of it, but I don't think I walk around thinking any thoughts like that. And so you have to learn how to laugh at your injuries. Sometimes I'm around the, I don't have a leg on and I'll fall and I just laugh about it, And Alexa she's all worried, but I'm laughing. But
I see. If I was with a group of people and I was with you, you'd be the last person that I would worry about something happening to, because I know whatever is going to happen, you're going to be able to take care of not only yourself, probably everybody else. Now, I know that you did a documentary. There was a documentary on, was it specifically on you? Because I want people to be able to see and like physically get to see you and see you in action. Was it a documentary they did on you, or what was it where you were mountain climbing and your leg fell off?
So I did a couple of inspirational TV shows after I was hurt, and they involved hunting, mountain hunting, sheep hunting to be specific. And through that, I got to be around some very, very inspiring people. One of the shows was called Sheep Shape, and I was on there with three other people: Chad Hall, Kelsey Buford, and Rick Carone. And Rick Carone was from the Chicagoland area. He played for the White Sox, and he had pancreatic cancer, and we lost him a few years ago, unfortunately. Such a great guy, had a super upbeat life. I mean, the guy was awesome. And Chad Hall, he lives in Florida. He was a cancer survivor as a kid, had cancer in his knee or in his leg on his femur. And then Kelsey Buford was just had a rough childhood, right? So in all that dynamic of all the injuries of us four, somebody in the world anywhere could relate to us. And so that's why it was such a popular show. And after that show, my cameraman, Chase Rutherford, with Op1 Creative, he had this idea. He's like, dude, I want to do this mini documentary on you. And he goes, because I've never seen anything like what you do, and I just want to tell the story. And so he went out and actually did all the fundraising, and a lot of my sponsors at the time, camo sponsors and stuff, they sponsored the show, and we went to New Zealand and filmed it. And so it was just a mini documentary, and it's called Wounded But Not Broken, and you can look at it on YouTube. And
YouTube?
It's super
fun.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It was a super fun show to do, and and I know that show it's changed a lot of lives. I mean, I'm very fortunate, and I'm very proud that I'm in the position that I'm in and have the attitude that I have, because I've been able to affect change in people's lives, and that means a lot to me.
Yeah, I could tell it's because when you see people and when you're in a room and there's 20, 30 people in there, and somebody walks in and literally not loud and like obnoxiously, but you literally take over the room. And I saw that with you when you walked in, is that everybody just instantly kind of gravitated towards you, and not like they were all kissing your butt, whatever. It was like they wanted to shake your hand, and you were. It's like everybody's eyes light up, and that's why I want these people. I want everybody to see, because they might have been. You've been listening to the show. This is your 14th show, and they've been listening. I want them to see you, because I had a certain expectation when I first met you. I've met a lot of veterans over the years doing different things, interviewing them and stuff, and they're all amazing people, but there's different levels of how outgoing they are, and I've noticed, like I said, this is show 14. You're getting better every week, and you're getting better and better, and I think that you feel at home when you're talking with your brothers and sisters from the military, and it helps you, I think, and I think it helps them. But more importantly, it helps people that are listening. And I think if they got to see this documentary and watched it and then listen to the show, they would be able to relate more and see more about you. So it's called Wounded But Not Broken, and it's on YouTube, and you can find it.
Absolutely. Yep, you can look it up.
Nice. So what do you think, who would walk into a room that you would say, that's a badass? That guy, because I don't really know a lot of big badass guys, but you are like one of the biggest baddest ass guys I've ever met. Personality-wise, heart-wise, you're like, it's so willing and nice, and like you say about every one of the guests you have on, so humble. You don't walk in like going, yeah, check me out. I just flew my own plane in, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's not about you. It's about, like I said, you wake up. How can I help somebody else? But who is somebody that you, like when you were getting back in therapy, and who inspired you to say, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to help?
Man, you know, I don't know that there was any one person that really inspired me. All my motivation came from within. I've always been a very self-motivated, very self-driven guy, but I have a lot of people that I look up to, a lot of people that I would say, you know, even my son, for instance. I mean, I look up to him. I mean, look at what he's accomplished. I mean, you know,
that is amazing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I have a friend that I will have on in the next couple of weeks, Joe Hahn. I look up to him a lot, and when he walks in the room, he's a badass. I mean, he's a Navy SEAL, and you know, he put himself through the ringers just like all of us did, but you know, I really don't look at people that way. I look at just the overall character, genuine good people, and you know, if you're a genuine good person, I really don't care if you're a badass or not. I want to be around you. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
We can all learn from everybody. Everybody brings something to the table. You just gotta, you know, figure it out.
Yeah, you know, like I've been doing radio now for 30 plus years. I've been, you know, on the radio working with a certain show, and like you said, I'm always learning something. There's always stuff to learn, especially with technology now. So there's always room to learn, and I've learned so much just from listening to the shows that you've done about things that I didn't know about, you know, and ways to help veterans and what veterans are out there doing, wounded veterans, not just veterans, but wounded veterans, you know, and when you come back, even if you're not got a flesh wound, you know, you didn't, not even that, you didn't get a scratch, you come back fine, still there's that mental part that I think, you know, has to weigh on everybody. At some point, it has to weigh
no,
on
it absolutely does. I mean, our veterans, especially in the combat MOSs, our veterans are asked to do things that, you know, just aren't good in nature. I mean, not that it's illegal or anything like that. It's just it's a fight, and it's a bad fight, and you're put in positions and you're asked to do this, and that's really upsetting to me, because I don't feel like that we get to take care of them veterans enough. Because, you know, just like with, you take, you know, 10 guys or 10 women, you have 10 different varying degrees of physical strength, mental strength. Everybody has their positives and negatives, and so not all people can deal with the after effects of combat, the things you do, the things you see. And some people are able to deal with it well, some people are not. And that doesn't make any less of a person. It just, you know, some people just are better at things than others. And you know, kind of a crazy fact is we've lost more veterans to suicide than we have in combat. And that's scary. That's
sad and scary, yeah.
It is. That's our leadership, and that's us. As a whole, as a country, not standing up and doing what's right for our veterans, because it doesn't take much. I mean, to help somebody. I mean, you know, maybe maybe all somebody needs one day a week is to say thank you for your service. Really appreciate what you did. I mean, to this day, Alexa and I go out to dinner. If we see a veteran, we buy their meal. I'll do it every time.
Exactly, because what they did, you never know what they did.
Right. It's the little things. You don't assume. I mean, if somebody's willing to put their name on that line to go fight for the better freedoms of this country, they automatically have my respect.
Yeah. Well, you've had my respect from day one, because the minute I met you, we talked on the phone, and then I met you at that first live show, and both you and Alexa, and okay, I forgot your dog's name, and it's killing me, because my girlfriend has a dog and she loves it, and I met your dog, and I bonded with him after Alexa told me how, and I can't remember his name. It's Vicious.
Spitfire.
Is it Vicious? Spitfire. Okay. Say hi to Spitfire for me, and I just want to tell you, you have you have gotten better each week, and you're getting better. And I think the more you do this, and when we're talking like on the phone, not on air, your voice is fine. You're great. You sound, but when you get online and you've got one of your fellow brothers and sisters from the services on there, you can hear your voice go up a bit, and the way you talk, and it changes something in you, and I love that. And I love that you're helping these people, and we're just at the beginning. We're 14 shows into this, and I think if people go out and watch the documentary on YouTube, and then they start listening, and there's so many ways that people don't know how to help veterans, and there's so many ways that people can do it out there. And I think each week you try to highlight a certain one, and I think that this is going to keep on helping veterans. Just like you said, somebody might not know about you. They hear you take people out on hunts. They didn't know people did this. I just got back. I had no idea. You know what I mean? So I think from doing this, you're going to help more people, and it's just going to get better. And you've had some great guests on, and I can't wait to keep doing this with you. And I thank you for everything that you've done, and thank you for this show. And I'm hoping we get more people to listen and listen and listen, so that way, like you said, there's not enough help for the veterans out there, and they're sitting there basically helpless when there are ways that people can help, and there's just not enough people know about it. So thank you for all that you've done, and I hope we keep doing this show for a long time to come.
Yeah, man, me too. And that's then, it's got to start somewhere. So the more people that we can get to listen to this, the more people that we can touch. And, that's the goal. It's nothing other than helping people and getting these stories out there to inspire people and help touch lives. And that's at the end of the day, that's what I want to be remembered for. So, I really appreciate you coming on tonight and flipping the script on me. It was a lot of fun. Maybe we'll do it again here in the future, but I hope everybody has a great week, and I hope everybody's new year is better than last. And just stay positive, keep driving, keep working, keep the goals high, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, man.
You're listening to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin.
My father was the best truck driver I've ever known in my life, like a family tradition.
I'm a truck driver myself. I drove around the state with my cat.
To be the truck driver, you not just only see where you go, you see the world in the larger perspective.
This is a really good time to be in the trucking industry. The dispatchers get good loads for them. The equipment is very new, and then it's very reliable.
At GTS Transportation, we make dreams come true by employing truck drivers, dispatchers, mechanics, and many other occupations. Consider joining our rapidly expanding team where we put quality, human dignity, and respect back into the workforce. Contact us by visiting our website at gtscarrier.com or call us at 847-754-4667. That number again, 847-754-4667.
Dallas Corporation and Dallas Logistics, a proud supporter of the Veterans Radio broadcast for over 15 years. High-quality printing services and warehouse distribution have been our hallmark since 1985, serving Fortune 100 companies for over 35 years. Check us out at www.dallascorp.com.
VBN, Veterans Broadcast Network, brings you Wounded But Not Broken, hosted by Patrick Scrogin. It lies within you to conquer your greatest challenges. Patrick tackles the stories of how others faced unthinkable odds, and then at a pivotal moment, a change occurred within them that gave them the strength, attitude, and direction to excel beyond the greatest expectations. Listen every week and learn how it is possible to defeat the impossible.